With this training, we're going to look at 3 ways to increase your profits without increasing your prices. So profit is going to be the difference in the amount earned, so your revenue, and the amount spent, your overheads, in terms of operating your facility. We can change our profit by simply changing one of those 2 things. We either increase our revenue or reduce our overheads. Now, obviously, we can do both as well. That would be the ideal. So let's look at a couple of ways in which we can do that. So the first way, nice and simple, is changing your billing cycle. Okay? Too often, people forget that they can change their billing cycle. They can make it to a week, they can make it to 2 weeks, they can make it monthly, 28 days, whatever it might be. But there is potential to double your profit. And an easy way to do that is by asking ourselves a simple question, and it's how many payments would you prefer, 12 or 13? Obviously, I'd rather get paid 13 times than 12. And using this example, we can see 12 cycles versus 13 cycles gives us a difference. This is just assuming 50 members, gives us an increase of €9,950 or pounds, which is 8.33% of an increase. Okay, and if we change no other parameters, we don't put on any more classes, so we don't change our overheads, and we're not renting extra space in order to do this. We don't need to do anything else. We're keeping the same parameters that we already have existing, but we are simply increasing essentially the revenue that's coming in. So that's one of those methods we talked about. Who would say no to an increase such as that? Now, if you think about that, there are 13 28-day billing cycles as opposed to 12. That's the win, okay? With that 8.33% increase per year, if you're already running an 8% profit, now this whole thing is based on the assumption that you are already making a bit of profit. So if you're making 8% profit and you add another 8.33, you've doubled your profit. If you're running 12% profit, now you're up to 20% profit every year. Simple as that. You've almost doubled your profit, and it's simply by changing the way you bill. Most people, they oppose doing so because they don't want to upset their current members once they've realized that maybe they could have done it from the start. Totally okay. So here's what you can do in terms of introducing it into your business now. For new customers going forward, apply the 28-day billing cycle. For members previously, you can leave them as is monthly, because over time our longer members will churn. It's an eventuality. And when they do, if they ever wanted to come back, they just go onto the 28-day billing cycles. Any new members from this point forward go onto your new billing cycle every 28 days, and therefore you're increasing your profits. And any existing members just stay on the old style of billing. If you wanted to change everybody, just make sure the communication is clear. But that's a simple way of just increasing your profits from changing one parameter, your billing cycle. Let's look at a second way. Our second way, better move my face first. The second way is going to be session length. Okay. In terms of session length, it's really simple. Most gyms will run somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to encourage you in this section to go with the 45-minute sessions or classes, and here's why. 5 times a 1 hour session, let's say that's your morning shift, is 5 hours. And if you're paying somebody €20 an hour to coach that, that's €100. Okay, this is your expenses. If we do the same thing with a 45-minute session, again, simple math, 3 hours, 45 minutes, you're paying them €20 an hour, it's €75. Okay, for that 5 sessions rather than 5 hours. And if we think about that in terms of our AM and PM shifts, if we run 5 classes in the morning, 5 in the evening, depending on how you run your setup, you could be saving yourself 250 plus over any 5-day period. Okay, that is a nice reduction in overheads from changing one factor. Most of the time, this change will work well for those of you that normally don't start on time or have extended rest breaks that probably aren't needed, but you just find that people stand around chatting a lot, or do you always finish early? If one of those kind of 3 things happen, this might be something worth considering, because now you're not only saving yourself time, energy, and effort, but you're saving yourself a good deal of money on the side. Further benefits when you're thinking about your customers in this case, it reduces bottlenecks around those kind of busier times. Like, think about your morning shift. When you have customers coming in there early morning, let's say you normally run a 6, 7, 8 o'clock class, okay? Most people want to be, if they have to be in work by 9, or if they have to drop the kids, they want to be gone kind of by 8:15. So let's run that scenario. Somebody has a 6 o'clock class, it's 1 hour. They have a 7 o'clock class, that's 1 hour. And then 8 o'clock ends up being quieter. What if you gave them 3 options instead of 2? 6 o'clock, 6:45, and 7:30. Now they're out by 8:15, and now you've given an entirely extra class that people can choose from. So now you've increased your capacity around those hours even, which are your busier hours. And essentially you've reduced the amount of people that now get pissed off because they can't get into the session that they want to get into. Okay, so reducing that bottleneck around those busier times. It's more efficient for the client. Most people don't actually want to be, like, general population do not want to be in the gym for an hour plus. It's not what they want. They want to get in, get out, and they want to feel good doing it. If you provide a really high quality coaching service or class, in and out in 45 minutes, people are happy out. That's really all they need. Now, obviously, there are different ways that you can structure it, but for those that I mentioned, those other factors that they always end up starting later, they finish early, this is who those people apply to. And then the third thing is going to be that it's cost effective for your facility. You're saving yourself $250 every 5 days at least. Okay, could be more depending on how you run it, but it's an easy way to change things up. It's an easy way to save time, save money, and lower your entire overheads. Okay, that's our second way. Let's have a look at that third way. So third, we're going to look at the capacity game. Okay, when we're talking about capacity, we're talking about how many customers or clients you can have as members of your gym. So the question really is, what is the maximum number of memberships that you can sell and still provide a great service to? Now, when I think about a great service, I'm thinking about having availability, flexibility, clarity of purchase. So what exactly is it that I'm buying? A framework to be followed within it. I'm thinking about keeping people consistent. Okay, so I'm also thinking about the result at the end of the day. Okay, they'd be the kind of main things I think when I think of a great service. So how can I best provide that? And how can I do it for a larger audience or for a larger capacity? So really what this comes down to is unlimited versus credits. Do you want them to have unlimited credits, or do you want them to have set credits? Okay, unlimited means you don't know how many sessions you need weekly. You don't know how many you need to put on, because anybody can go to as many as they want at any point. They can cancel whenever they want, which isn't conducive to us knowing our numbers. If it's a case of people being able to book whenever they like, there ends up being waiting lists and even more bottlenecks at busier times, because ultimately people don't put as much value on something they have an unlimited option for as they would if they had a limited option for. That's why we sell sometimes things like, oh, I only have 5 spaces left. That's the reason. It creates limited scarcity, all those things that people put value on. And for those people that don't put value on it, they end up late canceling their sessions. They may not even show up at times. And again, it happens to everybody once in a while, but the point being that your other members will get pissed off because of this. They will see that, oh, if they go to a spinning class, there's an empty bike, but the class was full. Yeah, this person didn't show up because they didn't put enough value on it. Okay, people hate that. Okay, it also costs you more money. Here's why. You have increased wage costs simply because there's extra sessions on that there are no need for. Okay, that's your profit that you're spending for no reason. There's nobody in those classes, or there's very few people in those classes that are only going to it because it was there. Look at your timetable now. See what areas you can reduce those classes, okay, that aren't busy. Okay, make sure you communicate it to the customers, but ultimately they have unlimited flexibility. they have unlimited memberships, and we don't necessarily want that. Think of a scenario where you could double or triple your capacity by offering maybe 2 credits per week or 3 credits per week, 8 per 28 days or 12 per 28 days. This gives people a defined number that they can go into each and every week with. You know, as a coach, that 2 to 3 times a week is enough for people to lose weight, get stronger, feel better in themselves, all those great benefits of training. So let's create that framework around which they can get a great result as part of your great service. So if we look at doubling or tripling the capacity, how are we doing that? Well, if we say that somebody can only go 3 times a week and we operate our facility on a 6-day basis, Monday to Saturday, now there are options for people to go 3 times a week over 6 days. That means you've essentially doubled your capacity already, okay? Rather than having unlimited, then you can only sell unlimited for that entire week. If you bring it down to 2 per week, you could essentially triple your capacity with those same numbers. Yeah, makes sense so far. So furthermore, it really does allow you to determine the maximum number of memberships for each option that you offer. Because if it was a case of unlimited, you don't know how many people can actually fit into your facility. But when we do, and we say, okay, I have 50 memberships that I can sell on the double, and I have, or twice a week, sorry, and I have another 50 that I can sell on the 3 times a week. Example, random numbers. The point being that you would be able to clearly define what your revenue potential is, and then taking away your overheads, you're able to determine what your profit potential is. So you know whether you need to increase, decrease prices, whether you need to change other parameters so that you can make that profit better, okay? So that would be the third way in which we can increase our profits, all right? And then the final thing I wanted to run through is simply, is it worth considering for your business? None of these things are necessary, but if you're already making a little bit of profit, it does give you the potential, as we've just talked through, to double your profits, to reduce labor costs, to clearly define your profit potential, reduce bottlenecks at busier times, improve client results ultimately, because with all of that done, you might even have more money to pump back into the business and provide even more value to the customers. Even if you think about the time that's, let's put aside the labor cost for a second. If you still wanted to pay those coaches for those times, what could those coaches be doing in the extra, I think we said an hour 15 on the AM and PM shift? That's an extra 2.5 hours that you could pay a coach, you're already paying them that you could have that coach looking after client accountability. So now you've improved the service, you've improved the client results. Clients will be more willing to pay more money for results and such a great service. And the bottom line is that it's going to allow you to work on your business instead of in it, because now you have a system that's going to work. You've increased your profits on the back end, and you have something that you really can make some actual profits from. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more.